Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got another start and sit video for you guys. Now the wide receiver edition. Again, this is based off of PPR or even half PPR standard league. The rankings and sittings and all this will be a little bit different. If you guys have not already, make sure you check out our other start and sit videos for you guys as well for week one. Again, we are almost there. We've got a great game on Thursday night, then of course Sunday and Monday. So we're gonna jump right into this. So these are your obvious starts for wide receivers this week. There's obviously a little bit longer list. You could probably put even more receivers in this, and you guys have always let us know if you guys have any receivers you guys do like. Of course, hit us up in the comments as well. But these are guys you should be starting this week without a doubt, without any hesitation. Now, the first wide receiver I have as a good start this week is going to be Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk scored against the Washington Commanders. Commanders gave up 38.9 points to wide receivers last year, which was the third most. On top of that, if you watched any of what Christian Kirk was able to do this preseason, he was fed a lot of targets. It may not have been a super large amount of yards, but he was fed a lot of targets. And this is a very heavy pass team with Doug Peterson at the helm, where in the past, it was a little bit different. I do see some growth in Trevor Lawrence. I see Christian Kirk being a 8 to 10 target receiver every single game. I do see a very, very good game. Again, Washington is something that they've got a pretty good defense in the front seven, but the back end's a little bit different. Another receiver I have as a good start is going to be Michael Thomas. Hopefully he is healthy. He is still dealing with a little bit of a hamstring issue, kind of a flare-up. But he is expected to play against Atlanta. Atlanta gave up the fourth most points to the receiver position last year in 37.9 points. And I do believe, yes, Michael Thomas is one of these guys who can just get right in there. He's going to get, again, 8 to 12 targets a game. He's going to be fed a lot. And I like what I've seen from Jameis Winston. He is looking pretty healthy from his injury from last year. And he's got a better arm than what Drew Brees had when he was playing with Michael Thomas. So I do see some deep balls here and there. And I know everyone calls Michael Thomas the slant king, but he can run the whole route tree without any issues. So I do like Michael Thomas a lot this week. Another receiver I have as a good start is going to be JUJU Smith-Schuster. JUJU is obviously in an offense that is very, very high octane, great quarterback. Very similar to when Ben Roethlisberger when he was healthy and had an arm. JUJU is going to be one of those guys who is going to look really, really good this season. Also, Arizona gave up a pretty decent amount of points last year, 37.5 points, which actually ended up being the fifth most. So that defense is struggling. On top of that, again, JUJU, when he has another receiver / tight end and Travis Kelce, who's going to get a lot of the targets, JUJU actually feeds off really well with that. And also, Tyreek Hill had 159 targets last year, who is no longer with the team. That means there are 159 targets that is going to someone, and at least a good portion of that is going to go to JUJU. So I like JUJU this week. Really good matchup. Now, receivers I'm not crazy about this week. The first guy I have is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like Amon-Ra in general. I think he is going to actually have a really good season. I like the fact that they've added more weapons for Detroit. But like I mentioned with Jared Goff, Philly's got a really good defense. Philly actually does a really good job against the receiver. They gave up the second fewest points last year with 27.9 points. So I have Goff sitting. I have Amon-Ra sitting. And with the fact that you're going to have Darius Slay covering him, there are more weapons for Detroit to pass around. You got Hawkinson back. You got Swift. You still have Jamal Williams. There's still a lot of good options. DJ Chark. I do see Amon taking some of that away. So I don't see the heavy targets like he did last year at the end of the season. So I have him as a sit this week. Another guy whom some people might be surprised, I have Hunter Renfrow as a sit. Now he did score 3 touchdowns against the Los Angeles Chargers last year. He had 3 touchdowns in those 2 matchups. That saved his performance. Last year, he also only had 58 yards in those 2 games. Take away those touchdowns, and he was an absolute dud. For whatever reason, he struggled against the Chargers. And on top of that, Chargers defense got only better. They added J.C. Jackson in the secondary. And with Devontae being there, Devontae obviously will get probably targeted a little bit more. Now, it could also be a swing where Devontae gets a lot of the shade his way, which is very likely, and Renfrow gets up so open in the middle with Waller. But I just don't believe that's going to happen. I think Renfrow is one of those guys, if I can find another option, I will, and I'm not putting Renfrow in there. And Chargers actually were the fourth best team against the receiver, only giving up 29.6 points. So again, matchup-wise, I don't like it. Another guy I'm not starting this week is Amari Cooper. Cooper is a great talent, but Carolina actually was a really good defense last year. They only gave up the 6th fewest points to the wide receiver. On top of that, you get Jacoby Brissett as your quarterback, which means they know they're not necessarily afraid of him. They're going to put their focus on Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Now, Cooper obviously will see some targets his way, but Cooper tends to have a tendency where if it's a game that they need him in, I'm a Cowboy fan, I've watched enough, he tends to disappear a little bit. So I'm a little worried with him this week. He might get 4 to 5 catches, but I'm not looking more than like 10 to maybe 12 points. He might be a flex you might have to put in there, but he is not my wide receiver 1 or 2 this week. Now, as far as some good sleepers, I've got Allen Lazard as a good sleeper, and now this is pending his injury report. Right now, they're kind of on the fence. They're not really sure. They have not stated if he's playing or not. If he does end up playing, this is a good matchup against Minnesota. Vikings actually gave up the most points to the wide receiver last year, which is 42.1 points. Also, the one game he did play against them last year, he had 6 receptions and a touchdown, so he looked really good. And he will be the, I would say, heavily favored target in the wide receiver group for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So I do like this matchup for him if he does start. He's a good sleeper. Another guy I have as a good sleeper is Kadarius Toney. Obviously, he's been dealing with some knee injuries and some leg injuries. He is expected to play this week. They're going against Tennessee, who gave up 39.9 points last year, which was the second most to the receiver. So this is a really good matchup. On top of that, I do see with the fact that Saquon's back, you've got Wan'Dale Robinson, who actually looks really good. So you got some more weapons for Daniel Jones. I think Kadarius Toney has a really good chance of being very explosive and coming back and really strong in this game, and I like his matchup. So he's a really good sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for the wide receiver position for week 1. You guys do have questions about who you should start? Hit some in the comments down below. Or, of course, you can follow us on our socials. Obviously, we're on Twitter and Instagram. Feel free to ask us there as well. And make sure you check out our other videos. We have our start, sit for running back and the quarterback position. If you have any other comments, again, hit us down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell is on. And of course, if you enjoyed the content, hit the like button, all right? And I'll check you guys next time.